There is a complete cultural misunderstanding between on the part of the West regarding what Russia is. We are seized with a fantasy, with a delusion that doesn't exist, and our miscalculation on that's going to kill us.
If someone told you Russia has lost, forget about it. They either lying or they just don't know which end is up. Now, what's happening is Russia is winning.
You still got retired military personnel like David Petraeus and Ben Hodges and this clown out of Australia named Mick Ryan, who genuinely believe that Ukraine has a snowball's chance in hell of forcing Russia to give up the Donbass, to give up Mariupol, to give up Crimea, and go scurrying back into Russia's ancient boundaries with its tail between its legs. It's not going to happen. It is not. And so as long as they persist with this kind of delusion, the number of Ukrainians that are dying on the field of battle is going to continue to mount. Ukraine's ability to persist and continue the fight is going to continue to deteriorate. And the risk of a direct conflict between the United States and Russia is going to increase. And if it comes to that, the United States will lose. The United States will suffer a military defeat at the hands of Russia.
Larry is quite right about conventional warfare. Russia's going to win hands down. What will these crazy people, not so much crazy, but Blinken, Sullivan, Hunter, and his daddy, what are they going to do when it looks like they're really going to lose this thing and it's an election year? And my God, if their competitor comes into office, they're going to go to jail. What I'm saying here is
Joe needs an off-ramp, whether they freeze the conflict and he just declares victory, we stop them from going to Kyiv or some nonsense like that the American public might buy, or whether we just continue to use Ukraine as a battering ramp. Joe needs some kind of handle on this to sell, I think, to the American people if he's going to run for re-election, Ray.
Well, what I'm going to say here is pretty frightening.
Go ahead.
It does have an off-ramp, okay? When he ran out of shells for the 155 millimeter howitzers and other things, they looked around, they found, cluster munitions. They're going to run out of them. And then what are these guys going to do? They're going to look on the top shelf there. Oh, they're under lock and key. Those are the mini nukes.
Ooh.
Now, there is a realistic possibility because they're going to lose badly. They're going to lose badly before the election. There is a possibility that because of this extra personal incentive to stay out of jail if Trump comes in, they would be sorely tempted to use just these little, half the size of Hiroshima, for God's sake. And that's what Putin and his generals have to be afraid of. It doesn't matter what I'm afraid of. It matters what they're afraid of. They have to count that in now. The evidence is mounting against all these guys. They could end up in jail, and they know it.
Larry, how dangerous is this scenario? Well, how realistic, and then how dangerous is this scenario that our friend Ray has just painted?
Well, the United States has very few options when it comes to a military response in Ukraine. Well, we don't have a lot of troops deployed, so in order to assemble a force that might represent a significant threat to Russia, it's going to take 6 months at least to round them up, put them on ships, and send them overseas. But once that starts, Russia could then start sinking those vessels. The thing the United States has failed to calculate is that because of George W. Bush and his decision to walk away from the anti-ballistic missile treaty, Russia has developed robust, effective ballistic missile defenses. What that means is that they have a realistic chance of defeating any nuclear weapon launched by the United States. Not 100%, but they have a far greater than 80% chance of surviving that. The United States has zero capability to defeat such ballistic missiles. So in the event it comes to this escalation, Russia could be damaged and would suffer, maybe millions of casualties, but would survive. The United States would not survive. The United States would be erased.